Hello, this is Wendy Kessler, your Close to My Heart maker. Thank you so much for joining me today for the first ever Renovated Series. So I will be doing a series of these videos. They'll be continuous, and the first one is featuring the Cozy Up Cardmaking Kit. So here you have the cards here. I'm going to show you how they're originally designed and things that I've done to change them up so that you can make them your own or use different ideas to make them different so that they're not all the same. Sometimes we just don't need 4 of the same card. So this Cozy Up Card Making Kit is in the July-August 2023 catalog. So that's where you'll find that. It has this exclusive thin cut. So all of the card making kits have exclusive Stampin' Thin Cuts. So this is this one here, and this circle is just really great for all different things to use for other projects in the future. And then there's some nice sentiments as well. The card kits also come with an exclusive set of die cuts. So these you may see throughout the book and be able to purchase, but this specific number of them and collection is just for this, so that you have exactly what you need to make these cards. So let's go ahead and get started. With the workshops, you will get a printed guide in your workshop, and it has all the the materials you need. It has cutting instructions and assembly instructions. So you can see I've made some notes here on mine just to help me through with my cutting. So I did some of the rings I did in a copper paper instead of the regular cardstock that it had used. So I made some notes here when I was cutting, so I knew how many to cut. And then, so I've done all the cutting ahead of time, okay? So let's preface with that, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. I am going to show you the first card that I've made. I'm going to set this off to the side here so I have it. So this is the first card, and this is how it's originally designed. So you've got some stamping and inking blending there, and you've got a chipboard piece here, the stamped sentiment. Okay, so that's what it originally looks like. Then I've changed it up a little bit with this one. This I've used the rosemary cardstock. I've added a base, and I've changed up the sentiment. So autumn greetings is fine. That's not something that I use a lot. I use a lot of thanks and a lot of birthday. So you will see those mostly in mine. But the nice thing about cards is you can change them up. Then I also have this one. And again, you can see I've changed up the sentiment, made it happy birthday, and I use this really pretty copper paper. It's no longer available, but you may have some in your stash. Or if you like this look, you could use the paprika cardstock. It wouldn't be shiny, but it would be silver. Glittery. Another option is to use glitter paper. So that would be an option too, in any color that you have on hand. So this is kind of a way to enhance our cards and use up some of the things that we have. So this is the original, and I like to have my Versamat on hand. It's got a hard top, and then it has a cushiony bottom. So I like to use this for my stamping. You can also use the insert that comes in your stamp set. That's what this is for. It's not just packaging. And then what I do when I'll show you this later, is a lot of times I'll cut extras of these and store them right in there. So then if I want to just like make a quick card or something, I've got what I need in there already pre-cut. All right. So let's get started. We are going to stamp these first in Mocha. And when you take these off, they'll be a little hard to take off at first. Just start in an edge and pull it gently. Okay, so we need that one and we need this one here. Mine aren't very hard to come off because I've already used them. Then we want blocks that are about the same size, close to it. So I'm going to use this one here, and I am going to lay it down and just press it on like that. Now this one, let me take my sentiment off the block here and I'll show you. So you could use this one to stamp, and because it's on a die cut, it's not bad. The reason you want a block close is to the size of your stamp is it makes it easier for stamping, and then also sometimes when you ink it, you'll get ink around here, and you can just clean that off, but it's just easier if you have a closer block to the size of your actual stamp. So I'm going to, and the blocks have they're shaped a little bit different. You can kind of feel the top and bottom when you're holding it. So whatever feels comfortable for you, but this really flat side, this side's a little bit rounded, more rounded on the top. This will probably be most comfortable for you to have on the bottom. And then I'm just gonna line this one up as well. And we're gonna ink these. I usually go tap, tap, twist, twist, tap, tap. Just done that forever. I'm gonna have to lean forward here to see it. To line it up. And then we'll do the same with this one. Line that up there, give it a minute to set, press it in the middle so that we hit that middle good. And then I have my stamp chamois. I just have it in a little sponge holder here so that it doesn't get my surface wet. And I just clean them like that. All right, then these we'll just set aside because we will be using those again. I don't want to use my, let's see, I don't want to lose this, so I'm just going to stick it on a block for now. All right. Then I am going to let these dry for a little bit, and then we'll go back to prepping them. And then this, we are just going to assemble our card. So it's very quick and easy. I've got my Close to My Heart adhesive here. Now this is new. This is the old adhesive, and this is the new adhesive. The adhesive is the same. The only difference is the runner. This used to be a disposable, and we were able to get it now in a refillable. So you've got your refillables that they can go right in there. So you can purchase this and then keep it. I would recommend maybe a label with your name on there. So we're going to go ahead and use this. You can see it works just like the regular, kind of comes out with dots like the old one was. Actually, I'll put the old one on here. You can see it is the same wonderful adhesive. All right, then when I put my base on my cards, I like to line it up on the fold, and then usually like the bottom edge because I can see that best. Then if there's any, I'm really picky, so I'll just show you, this isn't very bad, but if there's any overlap like that, then I can just take my scissors and cut along there, and I'll kind of tip it at a little bit of an angle just to get a little bit better cut, especially if you have a thin piece like that. All right, and then you won't notice it when you open. If this is bigger, you can leave it. Oh, see right down there, it's bigger. That's fine. No one's gonna notice that. And unless I have an issue with my card that it's not cut straight for some reason, it'll be fine. So let's just put this on here, and yep, that looks good. So, and you can flip the papers around. You'll see I've done that on some cards just to give it a little bit different look. When I line up my squares like this, I look in two opposite corners and try to line it up. If I have those two corners straight, then the rest of it will be as well. This next piece, we're going to sponge with some toffee. So I just have my cut of sponge here, and we'll just go around the edge. Very easy to do. Add a little or a lot, whatever you would like. Simple as that. Then we're going to add that piece on. I like to put a fair amount of adhesive on my cards because you don't want your cards coming apart. All right, this next piece, it says 1 1/4 from the top. I like to use my Versamat for this, so I will put my card like that, and then I can easily line it up 1 1/4, and then across. And again, if I have any excess, I can just cut it off the side like that. Okay, then we have our copper piece for this card. And this is another thing that I like this adhesive for. I always have my all-purpose mat here. And then for smaller, more detailed things like this, you want to be a little bit careful so that you don't rip it or anything if it's really detailed. But this adhesive goes on there, and then I just rub it off my mat. And it's easy as that. All right, then we put that on. This we've got we need to stamp our sentiment and put these together. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment first so that I have a flat surface, because if I put that yellow cardstock behind it, it's going to show. So I'll show you what I'm going to do here first. And I'm going to do the happy birthday, and I need to change it to my smaller block so that I don't have that issue with the inking. And I'm going to do it in mocha. Stamp it right in the center there. There we go. You can see I used the insert from my cards. I'll put that away. I'm going to clean my stamp a minute here. All right, then what I'm going to do for this is this cardstock is going to go on the top of this. So I am going to put adhesive on this top part, and then the instructions say it goes 1/4 inch down. So I'm going to line this up on my Versamat, and then I can put this and line it up as well. And there it matches. Now for the dovetail, it catches this, but it's really the center of the white. So I'm gonna first pretend that the yellow is not even there. So this lines up right with the center of here of the white. So I'm gonna cut into there just like I would a dovetail. I'd cut the middle, and then I'd cut each end like this. Now when I go to do this other side, I'm going to just kind of ignore this and focus on making this extra cut right here. Like I would a regular dovetail. The yellow just happens to be on there. And now we've got that extension that lines up like that. And then we're going to dovetail this one. This is how we would do normal. If you have a larger piece, again, I would line it up on here, and you can mark the middle, or you can just kind of note where it is, and you want to cut the middle and then cut each corner to that center spot. And how far deep you go in for your dovetail is complete preference. Okay, these I'm going to adhere on my card. And this I'm looking at the instructions off to the side here to kind of get an idea of roughly where it's at. And I know I'm going to be cutting extra pieces or covering up those pieces, so it doesn't really have to be exact. All right, and then a little bit of adhesive here. I'm going to use my rub and remove eraser to get that off. Okay. All right, now we're going to go back and I'm going to move this here a minute because we are going to sponge these leaves. And I use my blending tools for this just because I prefer them. You will probably have more control if you use a sponge because you can get it into smaller areas. But I'll show you some tips on what I've done with these and why I like them. Now, first, I'll actually show you two different things. I'm going to take out the yellow first. And my brushes are kind of by color. So here is my cup that I keep them in. So if I was doing a pink, I would grab this one. If I was doing a blue, I would grab this one. These are cleaned, but they stain. So if I'm doing black, I'll do this one. So I just kind of have them, they're just color coded by their staining. And I clean them each time with a baby wipe, and I will show you how I do that at the end when we clean up. So I'm going to start with the lightest color first. I'm just going to take this yellow. A lot of times I like to dab it off a little bit so there's not quite as much on, and we're just going to go in and do this. Now I kind of hold it like this when I do smaller things like this, just because I'm getting a little bit more and then more on the end, so I have more control. And you're going to want to, so here's the sample, and you see we're going to add these other colors in, but I'm going to freely overlap with the yellow because we don't want any white in between. We want it to be a well blended color. So if you do a little bit more yellow, it's going to look better in the end. Okay, so there's that one. And then I'll show you, we just have the orange here, pumpkin, to add. This is not pumpkin, this is paprika. It should be paprika. Hang on a minute. Well, you know what? I'm just going to use pumpkin now because I think that's what's on my brush. But very similar color. Okay, so this I'm going to go in with right here and see how you can see it has a blended look because we've overlapped with the yellow there. And that's all we need on that one. And then the rosemary is going to be these right here. And you can go as light as or as dark as you'd want, but I want to make sure that I don't have any white on it. And now we're going to do this one. So you've noticed that I've just held it in place, but with the all-purpose, you can add a little bit of adhesive and just stick it down, and then that will hold it in place. So like this one is all the same color. I can easily do it like that, and then I can, if I want a section lighter or darker, I can do it like that. And then I always keep my tweezers handy, and I can just, whoops, take it right off with that. So now it'll be ready for my card. And then another thing I also have on hand, couple things, is I have paper towels at my desk, and I have baby wipes. So I'm going to pull out a baby wipe, clean this up so I don't get anything on my finished cards, and dry it. And then I'll just set my brushes aside. I like to keep them kind of on top of my ink pads so that I have it a little bit organized because you don't want to mix them up. Okay, it's the wrong card. This is the one we're finishing. All right, so let's go back to this. We just need to add these now. I've got this. Oh, and then we have the chipboard as well. So what I did on my accents is, it was this wood grain color. First, I cut off the part that I needed, so all of these arrows, and I'm going to color them with mocha ink. So I just did them all at once here and left them right on there, so it was easier to do than having them individually. And then I also, you can see some residue of adhesive. I just put adhesive on the back and then popped it out. So let me show you that. And this I did use a sponge for. A sponge works better on these. I kind of dab to get some good color on, depends how dark you want it, and then I rub it kind of in a circular motion a little bit to get it to blend in and give it some nice color. So that's all you need to do for that. And then poke it out, or you can put adhesive on it like that and then pop it out, and it already has your adhesive. So I'm going to toss that scrap. And then I've got this, clean that. Now, here's how I do these adhesive, or these embellishments. So I'm just gonna place this kind of where I want it here, just lightly down. I am going to, I already have adhesive on my arrow, so I'm just gonna slide that in underneath where I want it. And then we also need that other leaf. It already has the adhesive on it from when we sponged it. I'm gonna put that in where I want it. And then I will press them all down. Last, we have to use our white gel pen. So I used the 10 when I did everything. If you want a thinner point, you can do it. You can use there's a 5 and a 1. So with this, to get these dots, if you just press down and make a dot, it doesn't work very well. So what I did was held my pen there and just made teeny tiny little circular motion. It doesn't take much, just very, very little, but look at that nice dot that it makes on there. And there we go. I might make just a little bit more over there. All right, so card 1 is done.